Hi everyone, good afternoon, and welcome you all to another webinar session by the 99X. And let's wait for 3 to 4 minutes to join the people. So, yeah, yeah, let's start. I think few people are joined, I hope. And again, we the title I think itself it has a meaning that Firebase 101, which is we're gonna share the insights which we are around. We are working on a project around 2 years now, and we're gonna share the insights and what we have learned from that. And there are some myths around the Firebase, which we have believed that uh, mostly not adopt technology, which is has not proven in the market, but that we took this technology to build a production grade app, and last few years we have working on, and we come over some of few things which can be useful to the one who is think to build on the Firebase, as well as uh, the clarification that you might have. And also, I believe you guys have having some introduction to the Firebase, like in your at least in a college project or any other module project. At least you guys have might have been had integrated at least the push notification, I bet. And after that, as I have been interact with the university student as well as my colleagues, they don't have much knowledge about the Firebase, how that it works, and no one is bet to go on with since it is not much popular as AWS or Asia or GCP. Since that it is not much on the job description, and everyone forget about the university guys, the engineers who are just scared to have much experience on this to since we can't be able to kind of project this experience to it. But when we go on these slides, you might will have the insight that how we can position this as the GCP skills that we can reflect on other service provider as well, which is similar philosophy. So going on, I think it will be hopefully it will be an interesting session. So uh, yeah, introducing myself, I am Fahri Mohammed, and working as associate tech lead at 99X. And I'm here working over the last 5 years, and especially in this Firebase project, I'm working almost more than 2 years. And yeah, based on that, I will be sharing few insights with you guys.
And I'm Basim Dilshan, working as an associate technical lead at 99X. I've been working at 99X for about 3+ years. And in this current project where we are utilizing Firebase, I've been able to work around close to 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, so with that, I can continue for a few other topics and some agenda, and then I think Pasindu would continue. So in our agenda, we will be justify how the Firebase is useful as bus, and yeah, we will see the limitations and everything, but how we have overcome and what are the solutions and things and all. And to get on a project and to onboard a customer, I think Firebase is the one which is the quickest way without need of an backend, which has all the SDKs built up, and just you have to focus the product. And while we focus the product, there are some things to consider when we interacting with Firebase. So we have chosen some key Firebase services that we have used to start to build. And then moving on this, we will show you how we have expanded into the other services as well. So first, you can see that storage and hostings, and we will go in detail in a bit. And and functions and the remote config and authentication, and then database, the Firestore and real-time database, and the none other than the push notification. I think mostly adopt one of the free services. And then issues and solution, we are just building a customer product. I think that would be an interesting part. There are a couple of things that we can share with you guys. And then extending Firebase with services with GCP. And again, that is also kind of a very important thing, that how we can kind of portray ourselves as an GCP solution provider. And even we can just reflect ourselves and see, compare with the AWS as well as other service provider like Azure and all. And the workflows with Firebase, how we can automate everything, so almost everything. So we no need to kind of maintain the infrastructure. So yeah, let's get started and just give an overview about the Firebase, that if you see these three columns, not really up to date with, but this is the image I could be able to get. So I think if you have seen this app, it is nicely arranged that every services are available to build a basic application, as well as with the tools to test and to maintain to this infrastructure, as well as get the error reports and things and all. And also there are, if you see analysis and A/B testing and things, and also the additional thing that we can get the pulse of the users. And if you see the build better apps, I think the basic things, every basic things are available, like authentication, the cloud function, and the Firestore. And I think the hosting introduced very while ago, and we can host ourselves in the Firebase, and we can do everything within the Firebase to onboard a very new application. So yeah, let's take a dive into in detail, and I hand over to the passing you to continue. Yeah, passing over to you.
Yeah. So as a head start, so let's take a look at cloud storage first. Cloud storage is actually an object storage that is built in order to cater your needs, the needs of your users. So suppose that your users are in need of storing things like content like photos or maybe videos for your app. So that's where cloud storage shines. And cloud storage seamlessly integrate with the Firebase, with your Firebase project, and you can upload, download, and manage files directly from your mobile app or even your web app, which is using Firebase SDK. These SDKs are available in different languages and also supports different frameworks. And one thing to note about these SDKs are they are built with mobile connectivity in mind. So which means that even if your users have a spotty connection, so maybe someplace like if you are in Sri Lanka, maybe if you are in upcountry, so the downloading and uploading capabilities are like working robustly. So so going to the next slide. So all the Firebase, the resources that are stored in cloud storage are protected by Firebase security rules. Firebase security rules is a configuration file where you write to let Firebase know who your users, which one of your users should and should not let access to these resources. So for example, in this illustration, you can see that we are changing the security rules to allow the object to write if the user has some kind of an attribute called awesomeness greater than a factor of 100. and allowing anyone to view it. Shall we skip to the next slide? Yeah, so after that, let's take a look at Firebase hosting. So Firebase hosting is a super fast, secure, and globally available way to host your web application. So it allows you to deploy static content like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript bundled together, and also images with just a few clicks. But that's not just all. It offers built-in experimental support for popular and new frameworks like Angular and Next.js. So Firebase hosting leverages Google's global CDN networks, content delivery networks. This means your content is delivered to users from the closest servers, resulting in blazing fast loading times for your web apps, no matter where they are located. So from Sri Lanka to somewhere in the far eastern end, you can just seamlessly access your website with just super fast. And the security is built in. Firebase hosting automatically serves your content over HTTPS, ensuring that your connection is secured for your users. And configuring and customizing custom domains is also in like a straight way. It just takes a little less than about 2 minutes to do all of that. And also, Firebase hosting is incredibly scalable. It can handle traffic spikes with ease, so you can focus on building your application without worrying about the infrastructure limitations. Moving on, let's take a look at Firebase remote config. So remote config is something interesting. So if you are, let's take a scenario. So suppose that you need to push an update without forcing your users to update your web application or maybe even a mobile application. So that's where Firebase remote config shines the brightest. So this amazing service lets you control your app's behavior and appearances dynamically. So all from the Firebase console, you can do this, and you can even programmatically do this as well. So suppose that you need to change a button color, or you need to change some text to something else. Also, if you need to enable a new feature via a feature toggling mechanism, or if you need to personalize your content, all of these can be done without pushing any single app update. And it can be done on the fly on the user's end. So one thing to note is that Firebase remote config lets you define default values for various configurations within your application. Then you can override those defaults in the Firebase console. So you can target your entire user base based on the specific user segments as well. So that means you can do things like A/B testing. So suppose that around 30% of your users needs to see this new feature, and the rest of the 70% of your user base needs to see the old features. So you can do that with the simple configuration in Firebase remote config. And also you can roll out new features gradually to a control group as well, like I said. So we'll be taking a deeper dive into remote config when we are discussing about some of the issues that we've been able to tackle. So moving on. So in here, you can see how we are using the conditions in Firebase remote config. So in this scenario, we are targeting 10% of the Spanish users in your application. And we are displaying a specific text to those users. Yeah, so once you toggle this one, you can see that it displays how much of your user base is available. Like in here, you're putting the AND condition. So it just demonstrates 3% of the recent users are matching with this user case. So moving on. And afterwards, let's take a look at Firebase functions. So Firebase Functions offers a streamlined approach to building scalable backend logics for your web and mobile applications. It simplifies the development and enhances the performance. Firebase Functions lets you write event-driven code that runs in the cloud, responding to events in real time. So suppose your users are in need of uploading photos, and then you need to trigger some kind of mechanism to watermark it. So all of these can be done using the help of Firebase Functions. But one thing to note is that Firebase Function serves beyond the triggers. So imagine that you need to integrate a third-party service, maybe like a payment processing service, like maybe Stripe, and sending automated emails, like maybe using something like that party service like SendGrid, or interacting with other external APIs. Firebase Functions can handle it all. You just need to write your code, and the rest of the infrastructure, you don't have to worry about it. Because the thing is that Firebase Functions leverages serverless architecture. So the only thing that you need to do is write the code, the respective code, and the Google manages the servers and infrastructure. So as a developer, I think this is really amazing. This frees you from the server maintenance and lets you focus on your product development. So integrating with other Firebase services is also seamless. So triggering a function when a user authenticates and data changes in Firestore or file upload to cloud storage. These are all simple works when you're working with cloud functions. So this powerful combination lets you create dynamic backend experiences without complex service setups. And Firebase Functions is also scalable, and the scaling is automatic. Firebase Function scales effortlessly to handle traffic spikes, so you don't need to worry much on the server capacity. Moving on. You just have to pay for the resources that your functions are using. So in here, you can see that the number of invocations that have been for the past April month. So the only thing that you are paying for is for all of these invocations. Yeah, over to you, Farid.
Yeah, so I'm take from here. So we're gonna have a look on the Firebase authentication, the options that is available. So when it comes to the app, I think whether it is CMS or whether it can be a mobile app, we need to have the authentication. So when it comes to the authentication, the Firebase provides, I think, every option that other services have. So we will have a look on one by one, and I will go in detail on some which is not that popular. So I will not go on in detail which is popular in WI. So I will just give a head on and move on to which I gonna go in detail. So in the Firebase authentication, we have the Firebase UI out as well. So I think mostly it is this feature has on every service provider, and Firebase also providing that. So if you are not spending much time on the developing the authentication, Firebase UI has the all the things built for you. So you just needed to just integrate the library, and you can just authenticate with any social identity provider or just username and password and things and all. But yeah, if you wanted to modify even the styles and things and all, yeah, it is also open to that. And also even you need to completely change, it is open source, and you can modify and reuse it. But if you go on that detail, I think we would recommend you can build the custom login. And also, there are some cases that, for example, if you wanted to build a Open ID or Samuel or Bank ID kind of login integration, I think this wouldn't help. So you have to kind of have a look on other Firebase authentications. But this would be useful if someone is just wanted to focus on their product and they wanted to kind of standard authentication flow. So, and then we have that traditional authentication mechanisms like email and password federated identity provider in phone number authentication. And then I think the custom auth and the anonymous authentications, which is new. And I think, is my knowledge, the Firebase is the only one who is providing this. And also, if you see this picture, which is I marked in the red, this will not available for in the free tier. You have to kind of move to the Blaze plan, and then only it will be enabled. And yeah, and if you see, I have just enabled in this slide uh, upgraded to the Blaze plan, and we have that authentication with the identity platform. This is actually the higher layer of the GCP. So that is why this is indicating that the authentication with the identity platform. So when you use one of these authentication like custom providers or any other authentication, that would you have to kind of interact with the GCP, one of GCP function. And there are some useful function that multi-factor authentication as well as the blocking function, SAML and OpenID and the multi-tenancy. So I will go on the bit detail on the blocking function and the multi-tenancy. So which has a bit use cases as well as a handy function. So if you see the GUIs, the Firebase has kind of a newer, sophisticated UI, but GCP has the traditional kind of a UI which every cloud providers has. But if you see, the both has the same data unless the tenants. So when it comes to the multi-tenancy, it has you can configure tenant by tenant. For example, one tenant can have maybe a anonymous authentication, but another tenant can have the email password authentication. So you can personalize those authentication. So one of your, maybe if you get the restaurants, one of your restaurants don't want the login, you can just implement the anonymous authentication, which is do everything in the backend, but you can personally identify the user to sake of identify his feedbacks or something, the review and things and all. But if you wanted to integrate kind of email and password, I think you can just open up to one of the tenancy. So if you see this GIF, I think this is the identity platform multi-tenancy authentication. Here we have two restaurant, Candy and Colombo. Here you can personalize the authentication. So let's wait a bit to move on. Yeah, in the providers, if you see, we have to choose the tenant, and then we can it is enable anonymous, but other one is enable the email and password. Likewise, we can click to the provider, and we can just enable any other providers as well, and also we can enable the multi-factor authentication in the tenant wise. So that would be a very useful function in the multi-tenancy if you opt to go with the multi-tenant model applications. So, and also it is super easy. There is no much hard thing to look at, to be very honest. And there will be some GDPR issues we will see on later. And the blocking function is we can configure everything tenant-wise, but for the triggers, the blocking function, we could not be able to do. We have to do it generally, but if you see this red mark thing, they are saying that you have to do it generally, but within the function, you can personalize by identifying the tenant ID and you can personalize. So what we had to do here is we had to, I think, Pasim explain how the Firebase function works. So help of that Firebase function, you can just before create the account, if you wanted to verify something and block that user at that time, you can do that kind of pre security measures. And also if you wanted to do something after the sign in, so before the sign in, you also you can do that as well. And these help of the Firebase functions. And if you have the Firebase functions hosted, it will be listed in the these two uh, uh, list, and you can choose, and you just in the matter of save, and then according to the your configuration in that function, it will be work fine. And then, as I said, when it comes to the Firebase authentication, you could not be able to change the region. So that is the one of the huge drawback for us, since we are working with the European customers. But yeah, Firebase kind of describe how they are compliance with the GDPR and the with the EU. But they have just indicated all the authentication process data will be exclusively available in the United States. That is one of the drawback that we have. We have just developed all the thing with the since they had the GDPR things and all. We have just got the approval and we have developed everything. But again, since they have clearly said and indicated that data centers are only processed in the US for the authentication, we had an issue, and we will go through that in the later slide, how we found a solution for that, and how we have re-architectured that. And then when it comes to the cloud file store, I think the file store is a NoSQL database. I think you guys might have been aware of that. So when it comes to the file store, I think there are a few things we have to kind of aware of, that query performance, and then security. I think the dot come, the dot addition will come, the Firebase security with the security rules in the index management and the cost. And all of these attributes are one of the thing that we have to consider when we modeling the Firestore database. So I think the Pasindu also will be explain the Firestore database a bit later regarding some of aspects. So I will go through the performance in the cost and security rules aspects a bit in the upcoming slides. So we have to be get covered when we modeling the Firestore database modeling. All of these basics. Without these basics, there will be a performance issue. Without even you guys modifying or get onto the data. So document IDs and the field names has to be there has to be uh, some formats. We can't have the black slash. We can have, but if we have the black slash or a strict mark and all, they have to extra effort to get that covered. So if we have something like that, and if we modify that document IDs, there will be the performance issues. And again, the field name should have to be if we kind of filter by that field name, it should have to be within some limit. Yeah, there is no there are few limits that can be go until that get through, but there are few occurrence we have to be mind if we kind of shorting with that field name and all. So for example, if we kind of shorting with the description, I think no one going to be short by the description, but if someone is doing that, I think that would be a huge performance issue when it comes to the Firestore. So that is the one of the example. And then the index, index has the limit of 200 when I was checked last. So it can be kind of increased over the time if we do not follow or we do not have an idea about how the database can be structured. So we will see in the next slide what is the basic approach we are getting. And then the read and write in our app is passing to side our application is kind of more reading, more into the reading and our documents consumed by the mobile users. So we have to do or arrange everything in the read friendly, and we have the TTL which we can set up and which is needed timestamp. If we have the timestamp, we can automate that part also, time to live. So when we define that one, it will we can make sure that thing will be deleted, and it will not deleted immediately. I think as I have remember, it will be deleted within the 72 hours of period. So with this, we can automate this thing. And then if you check the query performance and Firebase modeling, and I have brought a very general example. So, for example, when it comes to the thinking pattern of arranging the data, we can we have to kind of approach in some way, like we can approach it like feature based. So when it comes to the feature based, food is a one feature. Likewise, we can have a customer user. Likewise, we can go with a feature based also. And also at some point we can think about the query aspects. So for example, if you think about in a feature aspect, it might not be query friendly, but it might be security friendly. So if we structure like this, we can have a good security structure. We can secure all of the nodes, but we cannot be able to kind of filter whatever, however we want. So and if we see that if we have a document like this, like a dynamic thing, the index will grow over the time. So the 200 will pass very quickly. So to take a remedy for that, we will have a static field like food detail. So that would do the thing. So that would create a only one index. So we for only this collection we can run with that for that filter. So likewise, we had to kind of aware what are the things available and things and all. And for the initial database plan, we also have changed a bit due to these limitations and all. So we have to keep that in our mind when it comes to the database design. And then the cost also one of the things that we have to keep in mind because we didn't expect much of hit 2.5 million and 2.3 million things and all within a month. Always we are kind of getting more than the free tier. So that is for there, I think we had to kind of mind which papers of our app. If it is a reading app, we have to kind of, I think Pasin also touch upon this, how we can apply the paginess and things and all. So with that, I think we can save a lot of cost for our customers or for our apps. If not, it will be a really headache go over the time. And if our app get crowded, that will be a problem. And the real time and the backup data, real time data also one of the handy feature. Even if in the offline, we can even in the browser we can persist, and when it comes to the online, it will be automatically can get into the server in the real time data. And we have utilized one of our chat feature as well for Firestore is we had planned to kind of go with the real-time database, but after that, since there is a small feature we got with the Firestore, so I think we could be able to accommodate everything in the Firestore, and also the Firestore providing the backup and restore data. I think that is one of the incident remedy I think we can think of, and that is the Firebase brought recently. So that is also one of the handy feature that we can look in. And the cloud messaging. So I will touch upon cloud messaging a bit. So when it comes to the cloud messaging, there are a few options there. So direct cloud messaging as well as the subscriber model, like topic push notification. Here also we have adopt the direct push notification at best, but when it comes to our users get grow over the time, we also think about it, since every new push notification we have to read the entire database, and it also get cost, and we have did alternative solution. And also this push notification available. The one good thing about the Firebase, when Firebase introduce a feature, it will be available for all iOS, Android, and the web. I think one of the best thing that Firebase is doing. So we no need to think about the API and all. Just use the SDK and directly communicate with each other. So that is one thing, and we will talk about the cloud messaging again soon in the upcoming slides. And then we are jumping to the issues and solution that we have faced. And I'm passing you to continue from here to fifth slide.
Yeah, thanks, Farid. So in here, we'll be talking about some of the common issues that we faced when working with Firebase. So let's take a look at the issues that we had to face when working with Firestore. So yeah, moving on. So one of the main things that we faced when working with Firestore was the pricing. So as you have noticed earlier, so we are having more than 2 million plus reads, around 7,000 plus writes, and less than that on deletes. So the biggest traffic in our applications was the read count. So the cost was accumulating quickly because in our case, most of our users are on public end. So the user base will grow like spontaneously. So because of that, we needed to find solutions in order to mitigate or reduce the number of Firestore reads that were taking place. Yeah. So some of the solutions that we have identified when minimizing the read counts were: number one, pagination. So one thing to note is that Firestore doesn't, out of the box, doesn't provide any pagination. So to do this, you can actually use the query supports that Firestore provides through its SDKs. So you can, at the current moment, you can actually implement a simple next slash previous kind of pagination using several mechanisms. And the other thing is some of the restrictions that you can place on your client-side application. One is limiting the re-renderings from the front end, and the other one is throttling, that's highlighted in the last part. So throttling in the sense in here means that if you can cache your data instead of prefetching it all the time. So in our case, what we have done is in both our web and mobile applications, we've been using state managers like Redux. So it reduced the amount of need to read the Firestore documents all the time. And the other one is the structured queries. So something to note is that you need to optimize your query reads using optimized indexes. So as Fari highlighted in his previous explanation in the food restaurant kind of scenario, so you can structure your queries with optimized indexes. So moving on. Yeah, there are some limitations coming into the query as well. So there are certain restrictions when you're fetching your Firestore data. So some of the query limitations are noted in here. So there are when it comes to not in kind of comparison. So that is if you are like suppose you are storing things like fruits. So suppose that you need to take the so let's say in your client application, you need to filter out the fruit basket where there are no apples, oranges, and so on and so forth. So in this case, you can only do up to 10 comparisons. So that's what's mentioned in here as not in supports up to 10 comparison values, and limits a query to a maximum of 30 disjunctions. So as in it can combine different type of queries. So so the maximum number of combinations are allowed to 30 disjunctions. So you can't combine not in with in. An array contains any or in the same query. So those kind of restrictions are there. But although these are not so much frequently used, there are so in our case, what we did was we made some workarounds around the business scenarios. Some of these were not so useful. For example, your user might not be able to, I mean, it's not so much prominent for your user to do 10 comparisons to just to look into a certain product. So in that case, what we have done is we restricted only a maximum of 10 comparisons when searching for a certain record. So that's the limitation there. So moving on. So these were the solutions as I have told you earlier. So simplifying your data structure is also one thing. And the other one that I have missed is denormalizing the data. In some cases, we needed to duplicate our data. So the reason is because otherwise, if we are fetching the, like suppose you have users and also the users has messages. So so in this case, you can store the messages in one collection, or you can store the messages within the users as well. So you can duplicate this in both places. Some of these data can be sensitive. For example, like user info can be stored in somewhere else, and removing masking some of these data, removing some of these data, unnecessary data, you can store the others in duplicated in somewhere else. So this will reduce the number of fetches. So let's say that you needed to fetch 2 queries in order to get one single collection data. So if you are duplicating this, you can do this in a single query. So those kind of solutions were quite useful when we were addressing some of the query limitations in Firestore. So moving on, and the other one limitation that we've noticed is that the lack of full text search support inherent to the Firestore. So suppose that you are doing some kind of a text match. So let's say like you are searching for a job and you are looking for something like maybe software development. So you need to do some kind of a text match. Maybe you're searching with semantics. So so in here you need to leverage full text search, but this is not inherently supported by Firestore. Firestore can't perform complex searches within text fields. So because of this, we had to look into third-party solutions. There are external search services available. So for example, things like Algolia, services like Algolia or Elasticsearch, they are quite useful for these kind of scenarios. And one amazing thing is that these services are available as extensions for ready to be integrated to Firestore based on your needs. So this is this attaching this image is the Firebase extension hub. So I have filtered out the search grid. So there are different services, different extensions. Like for example, first one is Algolia. Then there's Search on the bottom, on the middle. And then there's newly available ones like leveraging the AI support like Vertex AI available as well. So you can leverage these things to fulfill your full text search capabilities in your application. Moving on. And one of the other problems that we needed was to provide a feature toggling feature toggling capability to our applications. We had both mobile and web applications. And also there were a couple of brands as well. So the challenges that we faced was there were different levels of enabling and disabling features. There were tenant specific feature enabling and disabling, and there were global feature enabling disabling as well. So let's say that you are providing a new X kind of feature. So this X feature needs to be enabled globally. And also once it's enabled globally, you need to grant it to a certain tenant, and that tenant should be able to grant it to its sub-users. So likewise, it had granular level of control when working with feature toggling. So when we looked into like feature toggling solutions out there, like maybe Darkly is there. I can't remember the exact name of this service, but it didn't had the exact thing that we had right in mind. So and on the other hand, if we are trying to build up a feature toggling solution out of the box using something like Firestore, it costs a lot because that will increase the amount of reads by a huge, tremendous amount. Because most of our applications, I mean, the major application that we are building is public facing. So the users will be quite high. So that will increase the number of reads. And we wanted to control our features as well. So let's say that we have came across with a bug, and we need to disable the feature immediately and work on a fix as well. So the solution that we addressed was to go ahead with remote config. So we devised a certain scenario like this. So general features are there, then tenant specific features are there. So all of these are subdivided as web features and mobile features. And the issue that we came across was how do we toggle these remote config data? So that's where cloud functions triggers came into use. So we are persisting our permissions and permissions in Firestore data. Firestore object. So once a Firestore object changes, Cloud Function is capable of listening, of employing triggers. Triggers in the sense, if the file is changed, the Firestore file is changed, it can listen to its changes and take that data and pass it as an event to the serverless code. So using the serverless code, we update the remote config as we are needed. So for example, if we are enabling a enabling a feature for a certain tenant, so the Firestore file update gets updated, and then the document change is triggered, and then the remote config is updated. So after that, the feature is enabled for either web or mobile. So that's one of the brilliant solutions that we have crafted using remote config, which was really useful. And we had a granular level of control when we needed to toggle on and off, even manually also. If something goes wrong, we can just disable this as per our need. Yeah. So in here, this is the dashboard for the remote config. So you can see that there are general solutions, the general features available. And then the tenant specific ones are in the next one, the one below the general. So that is segregated as like the tenant name. So one fascinating thing is like you can segregate the your remote config data as much as you need. So we had like a simple segregation like tenant slash mobile features, tenant slash web features. So each of these has the these features listed as the JSON data format. And also you can do things like A/B testing as well. So as initially I have shown you, you can just limit the number of can limit the features enabled to a certain set of group. So So that will enable you to do some A/B testing, making sure that before you roll out the features to the entire group of users available, you can test it out completely. Yeah, over to you, Far.
Yeah, so as I have said earlier, we will come back to the Firebase authentication. We had an GDPR issue, the complaint issue with the Firebase, since we could not be able to choose a European region. So what we have, this is the message that we have found out. So every data will be processed in the United States. I think recently we have found out the United States and the EU had an agreement. But even the country-wise agreement they had, I think some of company not prefer to store still in the US and process the European data in the US data centers. So they wanted to store every data in their region. So since the solutions are having the data center in the even in the European in the many regions. So if we see in the multi-tenants, again, I'm showing the our environment that what we have developed in the GCP. So this is the GCP multi-tenant. So we have migrated this multi-tenancy into the AWS, where we have adapted our Cognito with the Firebase custom mode. So what is happening here is we have re-architecture fully to get going with the Cognito. So here we test login with the I hope you can see my mouse pointer. So first the client is trigger the login, and then it is accessing the Amazon gateway. So I prefer not to hard code those Firebase credentials. So we have the gateway, and through the gateway we are triggering the Lambda, and then Lambda is capable to creating the Amazon Cognito. Here I brought this Cognito because if we have the multi-tenant, we can expand this diagram. So similar to this, we can be able to use this lambda to create the Cognito and then authenticate. So here I have just showing the one tenant like a normal application. So they are verified, and if it is success, it will be send the access token back. And the with the success access token, then we can invoke the Firebase function, dedicated function, where we can hosted in the Firebase environment. There we can validate whether it is right credential to login, whether it is come from our Cognito. If it is the multi-tenant, I think there will be very important to verify every tenant which comes as a request. And there we can verify with the well-known JWT ES, as I'm not wrong. Maybe I have just misspelling that. So where we can verify those credentials, and then we can create a custom token actually. So here what we are doing is, again, you might can think we going to the Firebase. Firebase function is we can host in a Europe region. So it has the region options available. So it will be fully processed and fully kept in the EU region, and we can change that region at any time. And then again, we had to use the custom authentication in order to access our Firebase environment securely. So there we have again the authentication. So whatever the data we are putting, they are also going to the US data center. But here we have options to put other than the PI data. We are just returning the PI data to client again. And then we are kind of putting other kind of, for example, custom claims like roles or the features that user has access to. Those are kind of numbers of some English letters. So keywords. So those are not the PIIs. So we are logging with that. And with that data, we can be able to secure our Firebase environment with the security rules, we could be able to go in detail, and we can check whether it is the right user to access. And then after we validating, we will return the created custom token from the Firebase function. And then we are logging with there is an option called sign in with the custom token. So with the return custom token, we could be able to again sign in. And then once we have signed in, it will have all the custom claims, whether it is admin or the any other privileges, or whether that tenant has even access. So that kind of verification we could do. And the important thing is this is not the vendor lock. So we have just now we are not completely not using the Firebase authentication. So we have moved to the AWS. At the same time, for example, if something is not good with the AWS, this diagram is very open to the move to the another solution like Azure B2C or any other. I think there are many things available, many authentications are available right there. So we can choose one of them. So when we integrate this one, we have checked all the our requirement in multi-tenancy and things and all. The Firebase supports the best. So sorry, the AWS supports the best, and we brought that Cognito to our architecture. So important to remember, this is not only for the AWS Cognito, but also we can integrate with any other uh, uh, solution providers. And then one of other, as I said earlier, we had limitation with the push, not actually limitation, but we had passed the user, and it got huge reads in the early days of growth. And we could be able to very reactive on that, and we got measured, and we have quickly migrated to our solution. So as we planned earlier, we just went to the option that is which is on the default. So we just went to the direct push notification, where we can have the access token the token is stored, and we could be FCM token. Yeah, that is the correct word. So we can store, and we can retrieve from the database and send the direct push notification to the user. That is cost a bit. And then when we reach us 30,000 of users, at some point we have fully migrated to the option called the topic-based push notification, where we have user can be able to subscribe to the topics. For example, if you have categories, you could be able to subscribe to that category. Whatever push to that particular category, if you are subscribed to that, you will receive the notification. There are also some uh, restriction there, but when we kind of discuss with our clients and our needs and our business needs, that is okay to get over with that limitations, like we could be able to have the combination up to 5 when it comes to the topics. So currently, so that is the limitation, and that is okay for our cases. And also the topic push notification is not that secure. If you guys planning to send some secure push notification with any data, secure data, I think this is not a solution for you. So you must need to use the direct push notification, and there are many options to reduce the read count, but some certain extent we could not be able to avoid. We have to live with the reality, and but the traffic spikes. I think the performance. I think there is a another dedicated page in the Firebase. I did not put here because everyone can be able to read, but we are sharing what we have learned here. So we can just according to those, we can scale up and send any number of push notification, and we have to kind of throttle and do those things. And yeah, what we have did is we have migrated direct push notification to the topic based push notification. So this is the some minimal the diagram that explains the uh, process. And yeah, then extend Firebase with a GCP. I think this is also one of the huge plus in the Firebase. So where I think when I start, I said that most of the vacancies, the keyword is not there. The Firebase keyword is not there. So everyone is scared to kind of dive and get the deep experience on 2 years or 3 years and all. So I think that is kind of a thing that we are not aware about the Firebase. That shows the lack of knowledge. But actually, what we are working with is the GCP, one of the popular cloud service provider. So where almost all the services we can compare with even the AWS and all. For example, Firebase function is more or less similar to the Lambda. So likewise, there are, I think, many services we can compare with that, and we can showcase our knowledges. So when it comes to the extent, we had the scenario that we had to schedule the some we have to schedule some of event, and we had to automate those things, and it has to fire a notification. It's the scheduled time. So in the Firebase native, if you see, there is no solution for that. Then when we just explore the GCP, we had a couple of options that we can have a scheduler, and then we will have the pub sub listener, and then we have the uh, scheduler function. So there are many functions that event function and scheduler function, normal function. There are many functions. So with the use of that, within that, when it is get triggered by the scheduler in the subscriber topic, we could be able to create the cloud task. So it will be fire at the exact time, and it will be send out the notification. And cloud task is one of the main feature of the GCP, which can handle good load of task, as well as it's built-in has the retry options, and also massively scalable. And we just a matter of doing the configuration according to the our needs. So extending with the Firebase is the huge plus. So if you see the Firebase, this is the Firebase, and we can just using the Firebase, we can just enable many more. This is just one of another example from one architecture. So with this, I think we can greatly extend our application when it go when since our application also had some feature requirement where we could not be able to only stay within the Firebase, but yeah, the Firebase intention is to onboard the customer quickly and doing the fast development. And then, according to the needs, when you get used to, you could be able to visit the GCP and use the whatever the services that has. And also, it is not limited to GCP, as we have showcased in the previous slides. Even we can go with the AWS Firebase GCP combination that we are currently using. So yeah, I think this is one of the slides that repeatedly, yeah. So yeah, from this I'm hand over to Pasindo again.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the workflows that we were able to introduce when working with Firebase. So in here, we'll be talking a few things that we have integrated during our development workflows. So there are many more than these two when we are working with Firebase. So first of all, let's talk. Let's see how we have implemented our automated pipelines to streamline delivery. So as I have mentioned earlier, we have several products. One is mobile and one is web. and all of these applications are branded using using two brands. So when it comes to deployment, so we needed to make sure that functions are deployed, and then if there are changes on the Firestore rules, then Firestore indexes, and then if there are changes on storage rules as well, we need to deploy them as well. And then finally we have to deploy the bundles, that is as in for web application. So we need to either upload the JS bundle and the HTML and CSS content to the hosting provider for the Firebase hosting. And then when it comes to the mobile application, we need to when it comes to Android, we need to upload the APK, and for the iOS, we needed to upload the IPA to the distributions. So doing this all together like manually was like a real time consuming, and most of the time, since it is repetitive, as most of the developers, it was kind of a headache. So because of this, the obvious choice is to make the infrastructure automated. So what we did was we were looking for solutions, and we found out, since we are hosting our code base on the GitHub, the easiest thing to do is use to leverage GitHub Actions. And GitHub Actions, when it comes to GitHub Actions, the Firebase GitHub Actions, Firebase relevant GitHub Actions there are official ones as well as community managed ones. So all of these have both pros and cons. Like for example, some of them can support the experimental deployments for new frameworks like Next.js, and some of them can't. So we selected one and went ahead. So as you can see, when we are merging a feature branch to the development environment, the development pipeline runs. And if the stage branch gets merged, the stage pipeline runs. And then finally, if the production it gets merged, the production pipeline run. And for each of these pipelines, we needed to deploy two brands mainly. For each brand, the functions get deployed first. That's because one thing to note is that GitHub Actions has a cost based on your time that the pipeline runs. So because of this, we need to make restrictions, like if the functions source code gets changed only, we need to deploy the functions. And similarly, the rules and indexes, they need to be deployed as well. And one thing to note is that we made sure that there's a single source of truth, as in all the indexes are managed under one file. So we sync up the indexes in the console to a local file, to a file in repository, and make sure that file is deployed on the pipeline. And then similar to that, the rules, both Firestore rules and storage rules, are kept in the similar fashion, and they are deployed as well. And then finally, the bundle deployment, that is on the static content. Yeah. And then one of the other workflows that we have introduced was Crashlytics for mobile. Crashlytics enables you to make sure that if there are unknown crashes in your application, they are reported instantly. So instead of going through customer feedbacks to figure out what caused this crash, you can just go through the Crashlytics report and identify the bugs or issues that are spontaneous bugs or issues that were occurring on your mobile app on the fly by yourself. So this reduces the make sure that your bug fixing time is faster. So you can prioritize the crash fixes based on their prominence in this way, and it reduces the development times as well. So because Crashlytics, in the Crashlytics report, you can identify, okay, this maybe this bundle line has this issue causing. So you can simply identify where by taking a look at the Crashlytics report, you can simply identify, okay, where this is where the source code needs to be changed. And likewise, it reduces the development time. And with all of this, it improves the app stability because you are continuously getting the feedback and you are continuously improving your product. So, so this is the crash static report for one of our mobile applications. So as you can see, like 99% of the time, our users are crash free, and there are 99% of the time it's a crash free session. So with that, we are coming to the end of the session, and we'll be moving on to the Q&A part. Let's give it a couple of minutes if there are any questions from the audience.
I think I can read the question. Is it possible to populate or join two documents like use object with messenger? I did not exactly get the question. Whether it is document of Firebase document, I think there is a collection and document. Whether they would like to join two documents, and I wonder what is the purpose of that, and whether it is query or they wanted to kind of join two document and use object with the messenger. So you have any input, person? I did not exactly get the question.
Yeah, I think maybe if this is relevant to Firestore, I can maybe answer this one. So I think maybe Fahim is asking more about how you can actually use foreign keys maybe in using Firestore. I think that might be the one thing that's related to this. So Firestore has this data type called reference, where you can actually refer one document type that is created into one of the fields that you're creating. So so this is much more like a string on one hand, but the benefit of this reference data type is that you can actually when you're using the SDK, you can get it on the fly using a method called get. I think this is available for, I think it's the same thing that's available for all of the SDKs. So that can be used. So let's say that in your use case, you're saying that there's a message array. So let's say that the message array's document collection path is like messages slash user x slash messages or something like that. So that document collection path, you can simply drag it onto the users field called messages and put it as a reference data type. And then if you are fetching the users along with their messages, you can take the user's data and then the user reference, and dot get, you get the all the messages that are linked on the messages data collection. So in that way, you can leverage some help. But however, one thing to note is that this doesn't reduces the number of reads. So since you're referring to collections, and it will be like two queries. So there's not much of specific advantage there.
Yeah, and also if you see the joins, I think that is not available in the Firestore or the direct joins, but it is all about how we are going to organize our structure in the Firestore. So if we kind of yeah, that is why when I was presenting the Firestore, I have said that we have to keep in mind what is the feature and what is the use of that feature. So, for example, there will be some application will be very hard to build on the Firebase. Like if your application is Sage based, everything is Sage. I think it is better to not to use the Firebase. Maybe you might need to rely on the extension like the Algolia or Elasticsearch or something. So if you can afford and if you kind of rely and other supporting services that GCP offer would be useful, and if you like to run with that, I think that could be okay. But in the natively, there will be some couple of query limitations are there due to this nature of the NoSQL database. and it is mostly regarding, I think, mostly here about this joining, whether we can join to tables like maybe table, maybe refer SD collections or documents. So that kind of direct answer to the SQL mechanism won't be available in the Firestore or any other NoSQL databases. So this is all about how we are structuring, and then how we are kind of accessing the data back. So for example, if you kind of is structured in the query manner, for example, the shop, and then the products, and then product items, we no need to query, but when we kind of getting those node part, it, itself will be a query for some level. But if you wanted to query by the field names, I think as we have looked, there will be some limitation, 20 limitation, 10 limitation, 30 limitations, array queries, and then joining two tables after we broke both into the maybe Firebase function, and we do some mechanism to mail that out and get back to the front end. So we do even in the front end as well. So yeah, there are some extent the queries are not much rich as SQL database. Yeah, I think it's time to wrap the session. I think hope you all of you get something to about the Firestore, and got something new, hopefully. And yeah, it will be available for the later watch as well. So yeah, then thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.